What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Blood and Beer, the show where we talk blood sport and we drink beer. I'm your host, Matt. As always, we've got some MMA to talk. We've got some beer to drink. Today's beer we're sipping on, it's a cerveza. It's a Pacifico Clara. Poured too much? I did not. Let's go. How's everybody doing? Welcome back. We're talking UFC Atlanta today. Kamaru Usman does the damn thing against Joaquin Buckley. Makes him look like an amateur out there. We'll get into that. Rose Namajunas, she does her thing. We're going to get into the whole card, talk about that, and do a little Q&A, so drop in whatever you got in the chat. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you're giving us 5 stars. Drop a like, hit us with a sub here on the YouTube channel. Yeah, we're live, and what's going on? What a night of fights. The prelims, I thought, were really good on this night, and then the main card was a little bit disappointing, to say the least. It was a rough watch, the main card was, but you know, we move along and we'll get right through it. So let's see here. We'll just kick things off with Buckley and Usman, right? We'll talk about this fight, and I don't know how much we really learned from this. I probably should have tried the beer before I dove right in. But how much did we learn out of this fight, out of Usman wrestling Buckley for four rounds to get a victory? Yeah, he went out there. He looked really good in those 4 rounds. He did the same exact thing each and every round for the first 4 rounds. He'd strike with them, get a little tuned up in the striking, and then Buckley would get taken down by Usman. Usman would hold him there, do some ground and pound to end out the round, and Buckley seemed to have no urgency to get back up. So how much did we learn from this? Is Usman not washed? Because I wouldn't go that far. I don't know if he still has his chin. Buckley was tuning him up bad in the 5th. Buckley's takedown defense finally came alive in the 5th. But what's that all matter when you get when you lose and against a Kamaru Usman who didn't look that great in the fight? He was shooting takedowns. He was doing the thing, but still looked a little immobile, looked very uncomfortable on the feet. And against a guy like Buckley who's not really, he's not landing the kill shot, or he's landing kill shots, but he's not coming at you with volume or technical ability. I would think Kamaru could have popped the jab more, given us something more, because this fight, all it told me was we were really high on Buckley when we maybe shouldn't have been. You look at his fights, he was losing the Wonderboy fight before he wasn't. He was losing, or he beat Nursultan Ruzaboyev, but how good is Ruzaboyev? I don't know. But yeah, Kamaru Usman, he does what he's supposed to do, but he can't get a finish, which, you know, that's neither here nor there. I just didn't think he looked overly impressive. He did what he needed to. He fought a veteran's fight. He gets the victory by unanimous decision. But this is absolutely not getting him a title shot next like he thinks he is. He's got this game plan mapped out where he's going to win against Buckley, then fight the winner of JDM Islam for the 170 belt, then move up to 185 and whoop Dricus's ass. I just don't see how he thinks that this is going to be going down. Because impressive win as far as dominance, but you didn't do anything to jump off the page. We got guys like Shavkat, Ian Gary, Sean Brady. It was Joaquin Buckley doing highlight reel things. They were all jumping off the page when they're impressing each time out. Kamaru Usman's just staying afloat with this win against Buckley. It's almost like it was not a fraud check for Buckley, but it's more telling of where Buckley is as a fighter. He's got the power, the athleticism, but just he didn't put the skills together. It didn't look like he trained takedown defense for this fight. It didn't look like he was ready for Usman's takedowns at all, and didn't look like he trained to get back up. He thought he was just going to stuff every takedown. I'm not sure, but there's levels to this, and Kamaru's a different level. Joaquin Buckley, not to knock him now because I don't want to say fraud check, but you look at the record of the guys he's beat, and I kind of said this leading up, he's been retiring guys or working through the retirement home. You know, knocks out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Luque. Who was the other one that he got out of there? I know he beat Nursultan Ruzaboyev. Point is, he's been going through a different path as opposed to like the Michael Morales going. Well, Gilbert Burns is older, but different path than Ian Gary, who went through Shavkat, who went through Carlos Praches. Different path than Shavkat, who's going through Jeff Neal, who's going through Wonderboy at a little bit better point in Wonderboy's career. So Joaquin Buckley, just outside of the top 5, is right where he belongs. And there's a lot of guys that could beat him. I'd like to see him against Morales. Morales looked good last time out. It's a technical nightmare, but Buckley still, I mean, he's so small even for 170. Yeah, he's stacked, but he is. You see how much shorter he was than Usman? It was pretty telling. Of when I saw that, I got really nervous. I was like, man, he's a lot smaller. Usman might manhandle him, and that's what Usman goes out there and did. So, what's next for Usman? What do we want to see next for this guy? We want to see him against Bilal Muhammad. Forget your title aspirations. Forget your plans for any of that. There's beef there. You don't like each other. You're not fighting for the title. Bilal just lost the title. They're not giving him a rematch anytime soon. There's beef. That's the only way either of these guys are going to be selling fights for the people that have been watching for a long time. You could main event a great fight night. You could be a co-main to a pay-per-view. You could be the people's main event on a pay-per-view. People would actually, I think they'd get hyped about a Bilal Muhammad Kamaru Usman fight, and there's not many Bilal Muhammad or Kamaru Usman fights I'm getting pumped up about at this point. So I'm rooting for that fight. I'm hoping that fight happens. Yeah, this Pacifico Clara is just okay, but it's way better out of this jar than it would be out of the can, I would imagine. All right, moving on though. Rose Namajunas, she took on Miranda Maverick, and Rose did Rose things. You know, not a ton of urgency, but she goes out there. She outstrikes Maverick in the second and third round. Maverick edges her out in the striking in the first round, but Rose, it was close enough in the striking that her takedown at the end of the first gets her that round as well. I don't know. We got to see what we have with Rose, because Miranda Maverick, this is what I feared for her, is she's just not. She's kind of like Buckley. We had two fights that had the same exact narrative. A former champion coming in, people think he might be over the hill, and then you have the young gunner that the UFC's pushing just outside of the top 5 that they want to move into the title picture. They get shut down. The hype train gets stopped. Not fraud checked, because Rose is a beast in her own right. Miranda Maverick, though, she can't really wrestle with Rose. She did almost get a head and arm triangle, but she couldn't strike with her. She gets wobbled and dropped in the third round, and that's what Rose needed to just secure the victory. Not a finish, but a dominant performance for Rose Namajunas. I don't know how much she's interested in doing MMA, because that another fight didn't tell me a ton about Rose. She had flashes of greatness, but more so told me where Miranda Maverick is, that she's very physically strong, not very athletic, and she just can't hang with the top of the division. You know, we've seen her, I think, was it Erin Blanchfield she lost against? I'll have to go back and double. Yeah, I think it was, but you know, she's just outside of the top. She can't crack into the top of the division. So, yeah, it just doesn't tell us anything about Rose, though, because with Rose, I've been saying that she can beat the girls on the outside looking in. She's not going to beat the top of the cream of the crop, if you will. She's not going to beat them. So I just don't know. This fight didn't tell me much other than Miranda Maverick is kind of where I was worried she would be. I thought she had a real shot here to wrestle F Rose, but she couldn't do it. So, you know, is what it is. You can't win them all. Not everybody's the next golden boy, next golden girl, and Miranda Maverick just wasn't that. That's okay. We don't. You know, you can't do anything about it. It's just Rose is a very skilled fighter, and she's going to win those fights. I wasn't too impressed with that fight. Really, the whole main card, I thought, had a lot of shitty fights on it. It just not an entertaining thing at all. And what do you do with Rose next? I mean, with Kamaru, we have the Bilal fight out there. If Kamaru can get out of his own way and lose his ego. With Rose, what do you do? Because she's at 125. Natalia Silva, bad matchup. Alexa Grasso, if she wants to take that fight, Grasso's coming off 2 losses in a row, granted against Silva and Shevchenko, but still 2 losses in a row at that. You got Manon Fiorot, who's beaten Rose. You got Erin Blanchfield, who's beaten Rose. Maybe Macy Barber, but is Macy Barber coming back to flyweight? So Rose is just in this predicament where there's not a lot of upside to the girls she can beat at 125, and the other girls she's already lost to. What do you do next with her? She's not getting a title shot off of this. If she would have beat Manon or Erin, she could have levied for a title shot, but she can't now. She doesn't have any leverage. She's 3-2 in her last 5 since moving up to flyweight. And that 3-2, the 3 are against kind of lower level competition. The 2 are against the 2 losses against much higher level competition. So what do you do? I mean, it's just she's in a tough spot here. I guess just keep fighting and keep doing your thing until you're ready to sail off into the sunset. Maybe hope that women's flyweight kind of eases up a little bit. Maybe Val retires. There's a change into the guard there, or you get Wei Li in a title fight. She strings one more win together if Wei Li somehow pulls off the upset against Val. I know Natalia Silva's right there waiting in the wings, but that fight's got a story, so that might be something you could do. But there's a lot that needs to happen for that to work. A lot that needs to happen to get that to work. So it's just, and when you're banking on things happening in MMA, in boxing, in these combat sports, they never happen. You look at Haney Garcia. They're trying to set up the rematch with the Times Square fight. Turns out they just had a terrible card. Garcia lost. Haney had a terrible showing, and now that fight's dead. Nobody cares about that rematch. Goodness gracious, sorry, my son's preschool just sent a bulletin out. I thought it was important. Had burps. How's everybody doing in the chat? Anybody checking in? Make sure you hit us with a like. Let me know what you thought of these UFC Atlanta fights. Like I said, the main card kind of sucked, but the prelims, and we'll get to those in a minute, but the prelims are pretty gangster. I thought, at least. I like the prelims. So, we move along to Edmund Shabazian and Andre Petroski. Sniker Tricks, let's go. Hello, Chase. How's it going, buddy? Yeah. I'm all over the place. Edmund Shabazian did the damn thing. He finally got over his hump, and he gets over the hump, and he beats a durable grappler in Petroski. Hey, 13 viewers, thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody joined in. Make sure you drop us with a like. Appreciate all the interactions. This is the most I think we have had. But Edmund Shabazian, his whole Achilles heel, the entirety of his UFC run has been that he cannot deal with grapplers. He gasses out, gets subbed, gets beat up and killed on the ground. That didn't happen here. He goes out against Petroski, and from bell to bell, he whoops on him. Petroski starts coming back a little bit in the third round, but nothing doing much. You know, Shabazian was beating him around the octagon. He just did the damn thing, and he did it right. So shout out Shabazian, finally getting over that. And that might have been the mental hump that he needed to get over to push to that next point in his career. You look at Shabazian, you look at what he has done. He's either gone out and killed people or gotten submitted. He's very talented. He was Ronda Rousey's prospect. So what do we do with this guy next? I don't know. Did I write anything down to do with him next? I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a ton. I don't know what to do with him next. He's at 185. Yeah, 185. So pretty decent division, but it's not overly stacked at the top. I could see him. There's a lot that this guy could do. You could put him in against a Brendan Allen. I know he's matched up. That would be a fun fight, but that's another grappler that could absolutely kill him. You could also put him in against... Shit. I can't even think of a good striker to put him in against. I don't know what you do for the guy. I don't know. But yeah, if you're just dropping in, make sure you smash that like button. I appreciate everybody joining in. And make sure you sub. Also, we're on our way to 250 subscribers. In the chat, let us know what you thought about UFC Atlanta. Any fights you want to talk about, we'll get into that. We just got done discussing the Edmund Shabazian fight. So, yeah, main card was a drag, though. The last two fights were Mansur Abdul Malik. He took on Cody Brundage. Really boring fight until the third round where Malik gets him up against the cage and looks like he knocks him out. Then they go to replay. Malik grabs him, headbutts him. They end up going to judges' technical decision. Malik remains undefeated, gets the victory there. So that's phenomenal for him. Wow, 41 views. Never had so many. What a day. What a day for me. But yeah, stays undefeated, boring fight until the end. And Cody Brundage, is he going to keep getting away with this? Every time he gets knocked out, he claims back of the head. This one was illegal too. Back of the head, though, or illegal strike. Ends up getting a technical decision, DQ, no contest. It seems like it's happening each and every time out, and it's really bizarre to me. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we got going on there with Malik. He seemed like a guy that was open to be fraud checked, and I don't like that term, but he didn't get fraud checked, and I didn't think Cody Brundage was going to be the guy to do it. Now, a fight that I called, you can go back last week to the live. I called this when Alonzo Menifield plus 500 takes out Omar Sy. Decision, fight that had to happen for Omar Sy. Menifield's been holding on to that number 15 position in the light heavyweight division forever. And Omar Sy, I just have not been impressed with this guy. This fight was also extremely boring. Both guys landed like 30 strikes. Nothing worth talking about in there. So we go on to the prelims where fun stuff did happen. Fun stuff happened. Now, the main prelim fight, Paul Craig versus Rodolfo Bellato, ended in a up kick when Bellato had one knee down, ends up going no contest. Bellato absolutely sold it. I'm not going to give him a ton of airtime talking about this, but he sold that, gets kicked in the head, falls back, just sells it, acts like he's knocked out. Then he acts like he's wrestling the ref, hoping to get a cheap win. They don't go for it, no contest, whatever. It may have hurt, it may have rocked him, but the theatrics afterward, that's what got me. That's what killed me on it. So, if you're just tuning in, though, make sure you smash that like button. I appreciate everybody joining in. And, wow, this is amazing. Never seen it like this. Now, we move on to the fun prelim fights, though. We had, let me see here. We talking Michael Chiesa, Court McGee. Not a fun fight. Chiesa gets it done, showing old age is not affecting the guy. Does what he needs to do. But that fight didn't have any stakes, didn't mean anything to me. It was just another fight as Chiesa kind of finishes out his contract, moves to the desk job. You got it, chug one. Goodness, spilled beer all over my notes. I still know what I wrote. Malcolm Wellmaker, he welcomes Chris Moitinho back to the UFC after he came in short notice, fought Sean O'Malley, got peppered up for 3 rounds before O'Malley knocks him out. Then he gets knocked out in his next one, first round. This fight, coming off 5 knockouts in a row in the regional scene. His opponents were 13-48, though. He goes against undefeated Malcolm Wellmaker. Dude has dynamite in his hands, and Wellmaker absolutely nukes him. Just first round knockout. Moitinho falls on his face. You hate to see it because Moitinho's got a ton of heart. A cool story. Dude's a dog, but Malcolm Wellmaker, who can handle this dude's power? I mean, everybody he touches, he puts to sleep. I think what you got to do with a guy like Wellmaker is he does load up a little bit, so if you can make him miss, you got to shoot on those hips when he's swinging and he's kind of exposed, has the hips open. This dude's a problem. Not someone you ever want to... You're never going to want to strike with this dude. So Malcolm Wellmaker, doing the damn thing and doing the damn thing right. And he gets of course he gets a bonus in that, right? He had to get a bonus. Yeah, he gets a bonus for that. Now, let me see here. Yeah, I mean, Wellmaker's got 2 UFC fights, 2 finishes. He's on a 4-fight knockout streak. 3 of those knockouts are in the first round. The last 3 in the first round, so 2 UFC knockouts first round. Dude's a beast, major prospect, even at 31, 32 years old. He's coming in, short notice to take on Cameron Simon, knocks him out, no problem. He's a monster, and I can't wait to see what's next for him. He's a guy that you got to get the ball rolling on him, though, because he's a guy that he's older. We don't want to see it pass him up by we're waiting on good fights to make for him. Let's just push him out there and get it done. Strap this guy to a rocket ship is what I'm saying. He's a star. And then before that, we had another one of Georgia's own, because that's where Malcolm Wellmaker's from. That's why he was on this card. He manifested it after his last knockout of Cameron Simon. He said, I need to fight on Georgia. Get me a fight on Georgia. I'm getting a knockout in Georgia. And he did the damn thing. Did it right. So, Cody Durden, another one of Georgia's own. He took on Jose Ochoa. Amazing first round. Ochoa's peppering Durden bad early on. He's hurting him. But then Durden catches him with a counter, lands a couple of clean shots, shoots a takedown, and ends the round getting some ground and pound on Ochoa. Neither of the guys looked like they wanted to come out for round 2, but they do. Ochoa goes out there and just knocks him out right away. Hurts him with a uppercut. Durden steps back, wobbled, and then Ochoa jumps in, looping left hook, straight, like a looping left. I don't even know if it was a hook, but just drops Durden, puts him out. Second round finish, 11 seconds in. So Ochoa looking good. Could be a major prospect in the UFC. We'll have to wait and see. He's 8-1 at this point. Just a guy that, beating Cody Durden ain't no joke, especially when Cody Durden's putting it on you, pressing you the way he was. So, what's that leave us with? That leaves us with my favorite fight of the... No, not my favorite fight of the night. Gotta hit Ricky Simón as he smothers Cameron Smotherman. What are the odds? What the irony? The how sad, how bad for Smotherman to be smothered by Ricky Simón. But Ricky Simón does the damn thing, does what he needs to, gets another victory. Issue with what happened in that fight is nothing in the fight. It's afterwards. Ricky Simón's talking about a rematch with Merab. Remember, he is the only guy to finish Merab in the UFC. Nobody is clamoring to see that fight. Their career trajectories just took a completely different path. There would have to be a lot happen for Ricky Simón and Merab to face off. I mean, Ricky would have to go on an absolute tear of a run, just nuking people, or Merab would have to have a career, a catastrophic career turn where he just drops straight off a cliff and starts losing and can be matched up with Ricky Simón in a fight that the UFC looks at as kind of a get-right fight where Simón might be over the hill, but we got Merab who's been losing a bunch. Give him a shot and maybe that'll happen, but I don't see it for Ricky Simón. Bad call out, but shoot your shot, do what you got to do. All right, now my favorite fight of the night, Angelosa versus Phil Rowe, and what a fight this one was. Oh my goodness, what a fight this was. So we had Angelosa, round 1. He's controlling Phil Rowe. A lot of clinch work, just a lot of control time in general for Angelosa. Round 2, Phil Rowe's starting to pick it up, starting to pepper him up with shots, box his head off, if you will, landing some good body shots. But at the end of the round, Lusa, after losing most of the round, drops Phil Rowe, jumps on top, lands some nasty ground and pound to steal the round. So going into the third, Phil Rowe is down 2-0. It's a fun, close fight. Both guys are battered, but Phil's down 2-0 clearly. Needs a finish. Not necessarily a big finisher, but what's he do? He goes out there, and they're swinging, they're banging. He knocks Losa's mouthpiece out, and the ref doesn't see it. So they keep swinging. The ref steps over the mouthpiece, still doesn't see it. Phil Rowe recognizes, backs him up to the cage, and when he backs him up to the cage, he just grabs his head and starts punching him in the face over and over again with his right until he puts him out. Very Don Fry and what's his name? Tucker. I forget his name. Very Don Fry-esque in the fight that we all know which fight I'm talking about. That one. That fight. Yes. He did that damn thing. Gets the finish over Angelosa in round 3. And what's got to be the comeback of the year so far. I can't think of too many fights where you see a guy come back like that in the closing seconds when he's getting beat on the scorecards. It looks like there's no finish in sight. What happens? You pull the draw for your opponent. Lose the mouthpiece, get punched in the face, get knocked out. What are the odds? Poor luck for Angelosa, but what a finish for Phil Rowe. And what a fight that was. The guy, his boxing looked great. It was just Lusa was scoring when it mattered most. And then in the curtain jerker, we had Jamie Lynn Horth. She took on Vanessa Demopoulos, beat her pillar to post. Demopoulos tried to put up a good fight in moments of this one, but it really just the size difference. Demopoulos is a small 115er, moving up to 125. She gets beat up by a large 125er in Jamie Lynn Horth. Jamie Lynn Horth was so much taller than her. The reach, the front kicks, the punches, everything just kept Demopoulos at range. So Horth does what she's supposed to do, and you can't ask any more of that, right? You can't ask anything other than doing what you're supposed to do. So that was the UFC card. Prelims I thought were like a B+. We had a lot of finishes, a lot of fun fights. Main card, like a C minus. The execution lasted till 2 a.m. Didn't love that, and just decision. I couldn't stand it. It was a rough watch. I'll say that, and that's all we got for the UFC talk. If you got questions, if you want to talk UFC, absolutely drop them in the chat. We'll circle back around to it because I love this shit, and I'll talk anything with you. But we're also going to talk, we're at 94 viewers. We only have like 5 likes, so it must be just dropping in, or maybe I got rated. I don't know, but I appreciate you dropping in if you did. And make sure you hit me with a sub. We're on our march to 250. We started off last week at 128, and I'm already at 177. I'm figuring it out a little bit. So I'm getting some people checking it out. Over 200,000 views in the past week also. You know, a lot of it's from shorts and everything, but I'm figuring it out. We're trying to grow the channel and grow the community. And that brings us on to our other combat sports, our other blood sports that we like to talk about. We'll start with Dirty Boxing 2, Mike Perry's promotion, also owned by John Jones, or co-promoted by John Jones. Not a lot to talk about. Jairzinho Rosenstrike, he gets a victory there. Second round knockout. Just one punch walk off. Should have been. The guy that he knocks the guy down. Guy sitting there looking at him, and Jairzinho had to hit him with the old go to sleep while he was on the ground because of Dirty Boxing's rules. Hell of a knockout though. And then you had Phil Hawes. He was in a fight. He got DQ'd for almost poking a guy's eye out. You had Bruce Leroy. He lost a unanimous decision to Said Jacob Kakramanov. And Kakramanov's a UFC vet. Got cut at 2-1. Bruce Caceres, obviously a UFC vet, over 20 fights in the UFC. So wasn't expecting him to lose a striking fight against Said Jacob, but Said Jacob gets it done. I'd like to see the dude back in the UFC. And then we go to BKFC, and Parker Porter, continuing to do the damn thing out of the UFC, gets a first round knockout over what's his name, Dylan Kleckler. And then Randy Costa, Jorge Masvidal's Gamebred Boxing Zone, former UFC fighter. He gets a first round or a third round knockout. No, first round knockout over Nick Burgos. Bellator veteran Brennan Ward suffers a third round TKO in his BKFC debut, or BKFC fight. Another loss. Jorgen De Castro gets knocked out in round 1 to Josh Watson. And then we move on, because there's not a lot to talk about with BKFC. It's just a fun thing that's going on. If there is something to talk about, we'll talk about it. But it's just a fun thing, just like DBX. It's just a fun damn thing that's going on. We'll move on to boxing, where Richardson Hitchens goes out and just shows that George Kambosos is no longer where we thought he was. George Kambosos no longer championship level, and Richardson Hitchens really took the Vasily Lomachenko approach in this. He cracked the body, popped the jab over and over again in this fight, and he ends up finishing George Kambosos with a nasty combination that ends with a left hook to the body, drops Kambosos, towel gets thrown in, and that's what you got to do, because he was getting beat up in there. Hitchens he was faster, he was more dynamic, more explosive. Kambosos had no answer for him. So, yeah, no answer, and does the damn thing, does it right. Hitchens, he could be a guy you slot in there with a Teofimo Lopez, you slot in there with a Tank Davis, because Tank doesn't want to fight anybody with a big name, but he seems like he could give all of them problems with his speed, with his power, with his shot placement, with his head movement, with his footwork. It reminds me a little bit of Vasily Lomachenko's fight style. I don't want to hear about the Great White Hope. They fight very similarly, or at least he took a very similar approach in this fight, and I love that for him. And then, finally, we had, over in Glory 100, Rico Verhoeven. He took on Artem Vakitov. Artem, he turned down a UFC contract to come back to Glory, won on the Contender Series. UFC lowballed him, and here we are. He's back in Glory. Takes on heavyweight champ, because he's a light heavyweight, middleweight area. Takes on heavyweight champ Rico Verhoeven, and you know, Artem put up a good fight, but Rico just was too much for him, and Rico gets the win by unanimous decision. At the end of the fight, Artem's bicep had been torn. He tore his ACL. He was just all jacked up. You could see out there, though. I mean, he was carrying some extra weight. Rico's just so big and so technical for being so big. I wonder what kind of juice that guy's drinking to get to that size, to be able to move that way and to not run out of gas the way he does. All right. But yeah, I think that's all we got for you on the fight recaps. If you got anything in the chat, make sure you drop it in before we go, and we'll make sure I absolutely cover it. Smash that like button. Hit me with a subscription. Like I said, we are on our march to 250 subs. I should have marked it at 150, so I felt good about myself. But this isn't about feeling good. This is about doing the damn thing, and we did the damn thing. We're moving there. We're getting there. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. And yeah, Blood and Beer. Make sure you follow us on all your socials. I don't know. That's all I got for you. And yeah, love y'all. Is that it? That's it? We stopped.